All right, I think we're ready to get started. Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see a packed house for our library candidates night. It's also wonderful to have a contested election in town. For many years, we haven't had contested elections, so it's fascinating and awesome to see that. Just to quickly go over what, and I'm Maureen Amiot, Library Director here at the Westborough Public Library. To quickly go over what we're going to discuss tonight, we'll be going in order down the row for the questions that are on the agenda that we just passed around. The candidates have all had these questions in advance so that they'll be prepared to answer the questions. They'll have about 2 minutes to answer, up to 2 minutes to answer each of the questions on the list. So I have asked them to do a brief introduction of themselves first, including a statement on why they want to be a library trustee. And then, as you can see on your agenda, what is the most important issue facing the library right now, and how will they address that as a trustee? What initiatives they would, if any, what new initiatives, if any, would they like to see during their term? And the library accepts and follows the ALA's Library Bill of Rights and Freedom to Read statement. That's why I passed that around, because you may not be familiar with that, with those two documents. So how would you as a trustee uphold the principles in those two documents? And then we'll have some time after that for questions from all of you and some like informal time so you can talk to the candidates one-on-one. I know some people are not comfortable asking a question in a group, so we built in some extra time so you could talk one-on-one with candidates. So with all of that said, we're going to start all of our questions, the answers from our candidates with Jeanine Mindrum, who is the incumbent, and then we're going in alphabetical order because librarians love alphabetical order. We'll go down the row in alphabetical order. So I will turn it over to Jeanine to start off the introductions.
Oh, hello. Okay, here we go. Take a deep breath. Go. Oh, and I have a timer. Okay, so I love the library, and I come here frequently to keep up with my reading. And as my outreach efforts as a library trustee, I'm hoping that members of our community will have the opportunity to experience the library in the same positive way that I do. Last year, when I was collecting signatures, is this okay? Signatures to get my name on the ballot, I was standing in the freezing cold outside Roach Brothers, and two kind ladies took the time to stop to talk to me, to tell me what they wanted from the library trustees. They told me that they wanted to come on a regular basis to the senior center to give them updates about library programs and services, and to hear about the repair project, and to hear about their curiosity about the library and hear their ideas. So Maureen Amiot and Ed Baldwin and I have done the first of what I hope will be many talks at the senior center. We have another one booked in March. I have been fortunate enough to schedule talks at the Rotary Club, the Civic Club, Walker Meadow, and the Interfaith Clergy, and I'm just getting started. As the outreach trustee, I'm looking for more community connections where we can go and visit, share information about our wonderful library, learn from our community, and grow and improve. Because if we talk to our community and share what we have to offer and listen to our community, we're going to have even better offerings in the future.
I have to stand up. I'm sorry. I'm too short to sit down. Thank you all for coming. My name is Dr. Mary Botticelli Christensen. My husband and I moved here 9 years ago, and to be closer to our children. You know how that always works out. They all moved away. It's okay, though. What I want to tell you tonight is, first of all, who I am. And if you didn't get the little card, I can also hand it to you in case you forget. But I have a doctorate in education, a master's in English, an undergrad in English education, where I taught school from 6th grade to high school for 7 years. I got a certification from the Foundation Center in New York City on nonprofit management, on grant writing, on strategic planning. I ran 2 large nonprofits after my children, 3 of them, who I told you moved away. And I have a lot of experience in how to talk to people to find consensus, how to find people's needs and wants, and write grants to help fund things. So that's part of it. part of it is also my absolute love of libraries. I'm like Johnny Appleseed. Wherever I go, I plant a library. It's in my DNA. I started out as a child trying to get a library card, but I could never print Mary Margaret perfectly to get the card when I was 5 years old. So I worked at it, and I got my card. But over the last years of my life, I have opened 10 inner city libraries. I have trained the hairdressers and barbers all the way down the inner city where African American folks live and don't have access to the library, how to talk about literacy. And then I got Scholastic to give me thousands and thousands of new books. And it was the first, I didn't know they were called Get and Go in those days, but we just had it as a free library. So 10 of those. When I moved here, I started one at Windsor Ridge where I live. So libraries are in my DNA, and that's why I want to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thanks. So I'm Boyd Conklin, 8 Water Street, 760-654-2282. I've been a scientist and a chemist, research and development and production of DNA and RNA, and for about 30 years in the sciences, UCSD bachelor's in biochemistry and cell bio, and I've got a MBA from Cal State San Marcos. Resident of Westborough for 3 years, and we can ask Maureen how close I come to be the library's #1 patron. The library is a wonderful place and should continue to be. Let's dispense with the woke agenda pushing the latest thing of the uniparty. So I've also got 6th and 7th grade kids, boys in Mill Pond and Gibbons, and I've got daughters that are 28, 33, and the 38-year-old is from the wife's first marriage.
Hi, I'm Mike Karp, my wife of 56 years, and I moved into Westborough in 2001, and when it was time to downsize, we decided to stay here, not only because most of our grandchildren are in Framingham, but it's a nice town. It's got great services, the police, the fire department, the library. As we got older, we found we made more and more use of the EMTs, but that was because my at the end, 103-year-old mother-in-law was living with us. It's a nice town. I'm running for office today because I value Westborough's way of life, which extends back to pre-revolutionary times. Unfortunately, that way of life is now under siege. Narrow-mindedness, bigotry, a disdain for science, and a contempt for the rights of others, and a feeling by a small minority that because they don't want to read something, you and your children shouldn't be allowed to read it, either is on the rise here and, of course, elsewhere. I talked to Westborough residents who are surprised to learn that today, in the 21st century, people actually want to ban books in this town, just like what happened in Nazi Germany, and just like what Al-Qaeda does today, and the Taliban, and Vladimir Putin. If anyone thinks the attack on the library is merely an oddity, a singular example, not connected to whatever else is going on, I suggest you look at the town warrants, look at what's been referred to in the Boston Globe as the Townie Baby article, where there's a look at boston.com if you need help with that. I'd be happy to tell you. And I'm just going to suggest that there's that to look at. There are 5 articles to look at in addition that are going on the town warrant. Nothing is happening alone. It's all, I don't know that it's coordinated, but it's happening simultaneously. Thank you.
Good evening. Hello. I'm Greg Moberg, 136 Upton Road. I'd like to say thank you, Maureen, Amiot, and
Hold the mic closer.
really this close?
Yeah, you gotta be right close.
All right. Very good. All right. So anyway, I'm Greg Moberg, 136 Upton Road. Thank you to Maureen, Amiot. I'm trying so hard. Okay. And what a terrific setting for this, huh? We're here in this spot for this event. little bit about me. I and my wife moved to Westborough in 1992, and we've lived at our house since '93. We've raised 2 children that have been through the public school system here and have off to college. I've got one done. She's 26, and our son is 24 and over here at Framingham State University. I myself am from Pennsylvania. I have a master's degree in computer science and have worked continuously since moving here in the late 80s in the computer technology up and down 495 and currently downtown in the financial district. So my background in libraries has gone back a long way. I started off with one of my first summer jobs being a volunteer at a library, running the microfiche system and doing cataloging of things into microfilm reels and running the copy center back in the days when the copying machines were, the size of a small, barn. Since then, I've worked in positions where we were involved in replacing the card catalog system, for instance, of a library. Anyway, I am very interested in running for this position because I want to give back to the community that I've been with for so long. I was a soccer coach for a while until the children got to the point where it was beyond my capability. I have time now in my life to proceed and try to give back to the community where I've been a member for so long. And I really look forward to having your vote on this. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you all for your answers on that one. So we'll go to our first question, which is, what is the most important issue facing the Westborough Public Library right now, and how will you address that? So Jeanine.
Okay. I believe the most important issue facing our library right now is to repair the physical plant so our library can continue to meet our needs. Our library is not just a building with books. It's a vital community resource with opportunities for learning, social engagement, and recreation for all ages. But right now, this beautiful building is badly in need of repair to the electrical system, the digital system, the HVAC system, the bathrooms, the fire safety system, and probably something else that I don't have in my head right now. And we also need to become ADA compliant at the state and federal level. I've been attending the building committee meetings as much as possible, and this impressive committee has been working really hard to figure out exactly which systems absolutely need to be repaired or replaced now. So I'll support this by continuing to go out in the community and give people information about the project and about the needs. And if we take care of our library now, it will be able to continue to take care of us.
Okay, what do we need in a library? Books, of course. But we have to have, as a community, a belief that libraries are not outdated. You can't completely become automated into digital books. You need to come to a place where it's safe, free, and that you can read whatever you desire to read. Reading is a fundamental skill that helps you develop critical thinking skills. And we live in a democracy, which isn't easy, because it starts out saying, we the people, and then it says, but you as the individual have civil rights. And those are always coming into contact with each other and rubbing up against each other. But when you come to the library, you can read about other cultures, you can read about other governments, you can read the mistakes that we've made, and not be hidden and saying, oh no, we cannot have a book like that in our library because it's about a dictatorship or it's about something else. Most of the time when people get worried about what a library should be and shouldn't be, is that they're looking at a book as whether it should be appropriate for everybody. Everybody. Now, I've been teaching for almost 50 years. I know I don't look it, but over 50 years I've been a teacher, and I have encountered libraries at the schools being attacked, children not being able to read things. And we're going to talk about that later in another question, but I want to talk about what we need to do to get the entire community rallying around the library. We had a little hiccup with the building and the new building, and money is everything. However, if we bond together to see that the library is the seed of which democracy grows and that we together can build something wonderful together.
Thank you. So we've got an article on the warrant, besides the one that Mr. Karp is talking about. Library cost-effective repair. To see if the town will vote on a non-binding resolution to leave the library building alone. Repair is needed. Roofs, windows, carpets, no heat pumps, no conversion of natural gas heating to electric, no electric rewiring for the massive draw of electric heating. Article information. There are those in authority positions in Westborough that feel compelled to electrify the town for climate change, aka zero carbon, net zero. So in my opinion, they feel the library must be electrified. I think we can cost effectively repair it. The town has just purchased the 1500 Union Street property to function as a community center. So there's no reason to go forward with the community center plan on the library site. The slate roofing on the original 1908 building can be removed, the roof sheeting and fascia replaced, repaired as needed, and the slate tiles reinstalled. The roof on the addition can be redone also. The windows can be repaired one at a time without causing downtime in the library operations. Parking easements perhaps can be renegotiated with the church next door. I was at the library meeting last night, trustees, and that seems to be in progress. We will soon see the third iteration of the pig with different lipstick. It is still the same pig. How many times must the town vote down this same project from LPAA and Vertex that the library trustees and library building committee relentlessly present? Thank you.
The most important issue. Admittedly, the physical building is important, but the contents of the building are far more important. We need repairs for the library's physical structure and to the infrastructure. But any money spent on such things will be of limited value if the books and the openness of this library and the freedom of access to new ideas that the library provides are not protected. The bottom line here, people cannot censor books simply because they are personally uncomfortable with the book's contents. You shouldn't put up with that, and I know I certainly won't. The problem exists here just as it does in other places. But here we have an opportunity to, in a respectful way, fix things. The way is simple, although not necessarily easy. It's just this. Leave the books alone. Don't even begin to think about letting outsiders come in and tell you what you can and cannot read. Leave the librarians alone to do their job. They're trained to do this sort of thing, you know. This provides considerable benefit for the families and others who are concerned about the children who come here to use the library. If kids come to their parents with questions about anything, that's the parents' opportunity to respond is kind of like the ideal parenting opportunity. Just as in the military, you can delegate authority, but you can't delegate responsibility. The parents have the responsibility, and in here, the librarians have the authority. But allow the parents the opportunity to talk with their kids, and pretty soon, I think what you'll find is episodes of, in the best cases, good parenting, receptive children, and what's, at the risk of being trite, quality time with the kids.
Thank you. All right. There we go. All right. So I believe that we have two issues facing it at the same time. And the solution to the one helps drive the solution to the second. The first is actually really what Jeanine was saying when we started off, that engagement and awareness about the library is something that we need to promote, and your active promoting of it is exactly the solution that I think that we need first to struggle with and make aware. there can be too easily bubbles in our lives. So there's the Westborough bubble of like where I live and what I'm doing, and for all of us, we're busy in our own ways. But the library needs to be engaged with the public just as we need to remember to be engaged with our library. It's a terrific resource. This library that we have is a real gem for our community. It's terrific. But it's, for too many of us, it's easy to drive by it and say, oh, there it goes in the mirror, or not even pay attention to it, when in fact, it's not something you need to come to. It's a virtual presence that you can get to from your house or your tablet when you're afar. And it provides so many useful resources. And here it provides so many different places where people can come together, groups, children, tutors, and work and enhance their lives. This is a terrific place. And we need to advocate that. And that's what I'd like to do as a trustee, is to, you know, what Jeanine was saying, what Mary was saying was just terrific about wanting to reach out, engage the community, be involved. An engaged community will further understand the value of what they're doing. And then that gets into the whole second piece, of which we've been hearing about, which is the need for this building to be repaired. We don't want to surprise people at the town meeting, oh, we've got another big bill. What we want to do is have the awareness there all along that this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed. And indeed, there's a long list as discussed. So I believe that increasing the engagement between us, the public, the library, and then in reverse, help build the community that will then allow for us to be proceeding appropriately on keeping this really gem of a building going. Thank you.
Thank you all. So now we'll move on to what new initiatives, if any, would you like to see the library undertake during your term?
This is a fun one. So I would love to see an intergenerational program put in place. It would be wonderful to have a music/story time for young children and their parents that seniors could come to and participate or watch. And it would be lovely if this could take place somewhere in our community. And it would be beneficial and super fun to have a Get to Know Your Library event periodically at the library. We could send out invitations to local boards and committees and organizations and churches and others so that they would know that they're welcome and we value their presence. And then we could have around the library places where our gifted librarians could tell you information about upcoming events for adults, teens, and kids. We could target a room for a library trivia game and another one for information about the repair project. And then we could have someone helping people learn how to use the website more efficiently. How do you request a museum pass? How do you get a library card? And then if it could fit in with the senior center's busy schedule, it would be wonderful if we could present an event there during the day, because many of our adult programs take place at night and some people don't feel comfortable driving after dark.
Okay, I thought a lot about this, and I've worked on many projects here, including raising money for the golf tournament, so that brought in money for the little kids up to the high school kids. But I do think that all of those wonderful enrichment programs are great. But we're at a critical time in thinking process. We have so many people, young and old, who are stuck to their cameras, stuck to their phones, that we are not engaging our brains in anything intellectual. We say, oh no, that's too much work. That's like school. I don't want to do that. But we need it, no matter how old we are. Your cognitive ability must be engaged. So I'm not talking about the little children, and I'm not talking about the teens. We will always take care of them because they're the future. But the adult world needs some intellectual stimulation. Now at Assumption College, they have the WISE program, which is an intellectual conversation between a person who is intellectually chosen. They have somebody who's an expert on the Supreme Court, and her or his section is overrun with people who want to hear it and learn more about the Supreme Court. We need something like that to engage our citizens so that they can become stronger thinkers. So we can't be easily duped, especially as we get older. Speaking personally, we're always looking out for the person who's going to scam me. I'm always worried, is this like a scam? I have to keep my brain right there all the time. And that's why I want to push for programming that will be intellectually stimulating, current and enticing for us to be a community of learners. Just because we finished college and we finished going to school doesn't mean you stop learning. So I'm speaking to the group that's here right now. Our children are all older than us, and we need to concentrate on our intellectual development. So that's what I'd like to see. Thank you.
Library Bill of Rights, freedom to read, access, content, contraire. Only the current technocracy's view is presented at Westborough Public Library. We have the Obama display. Where's the Trump display? The WHO, federal and state doctrine, AMA, psychiatric associations, hospital industrial complex, pediatrics associations, UN Agenda 2030, climate hysteria. I'm for inclusion. An example, here's a book, Bad Therapy, Why Kids Aren't Growing Up, Abigail Schreier. Description from the author of Irreversible Damage, that's on the transgenders, came out 4 years ago.
Would you answer the question? It's question number 2.
The library accepts and follows the American Library Association's Library Bill of Rights and the Freedom to Read statement. How would you, as a library
we're
trustee...
not on that question yet. We're on the new initiatives.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. With the current electronic rewriting of history, we have witnessed this week by Gemini, the Google artificial intelligence platform, Fahrenheit 451 continues unabated. He who controls the present controls the past. Westborough Public Library is in the book destruction business. All the books that are not sold at the monthly library book sales end up destroyed. I would like to see the incorruptible knowledge base be preserved by offering it to the Westborough community free of charge. If anyone would like to take these books and help increase the book's shelf life a little longer, it should be encouraged. Most easily done getting them into the public hands in the room where they are donated. It should be encouraged. What's that? Oh, I'm going to use the take off from the other question.
Okay, back to the issue of new issues. I have to say, I wish the library were better at letting folks know about the good things that go on here, the improvements, the new programs, etc. Maybe they just need a good PR agency, but that costs money, so let's look for other opportunities to approach that. My approach then, in answering this question, is fairly straightforward, I think, and has less to do with the actual programs and more to do with process. And just 2 simple processes. Why don't we just ask the community what they want and provide it for them if that's possible? And secondly, by all means, let's continue repositioning the library so that it can become more actively involved with more parts of the community as the parts of the community continue to be interchangeable. Continue to be changing. We're getting new people in, new ethnic groups, new folks of all sorts in all the time. We need more outreach to these people. They're part of us now, and we should be part of them if we can. Finally, I apologize. I inadvertently left off my academic credentials. If you want to know where I did my doctoral work, I'll be happy to have that to talk to you about both of those experiences and the and of course my teaching and my technology and the 32 books I read. Not the 32 I read. Oh, I have. But the ones I wrote. That's pretty much what I have to say on that topic.
Okay, thank you. All right. What I would like to do as a trustee, the initiatives I'd like to see us get involved in are more engagement, as I said before, more involvement with the community. Oh, I have to get this close. I'm just not good at this, am I? So I want to see the library increase its its involvement with the community, and the community recognizing and returning that involvement by coming back to here and remembering to come back here for the different resources that are available. And so that's really again, playing with what I was saying before, that engagement will cause the library to represent find the needs of the community and reflect that back. The public's being aware of what the library is doing, will cause them to remember to come here. It won't be just the children coming in here after school, but there will be everyone being aware of what's available at home, here, and being part of that. When you go to the events page of the library's website, it's a tremendously filled out piece of month after month of activities that are available for the children, adults, our seniors, our guests to town. There's a lot going on here. But I worry that a lot of it gets unnoticed, that they're busy, that we have to find more ways to reach out, engage those around us, and say, look, there's a tremendous resource here. You should take advantage of it. And then in return, listen what the public's interests are and reflect that back to them by offering them program changes. That's what I find as the challenge that I would really like to get into as far as being a trustee. Thank you.
So moving on to our last question, our last prepared question. The library accepts and follows the American Library Association's Library Bill of Rights and Freedom to Read statement. How would you as a library trustee uphold the principles in these two documents?
So the library has a well-written policy on how to handle book challenges, and I support and follow that. I also respect the expertise of our highly trained librarians on this matter, and I will follow their lead. I took a firm stand against book banning, and I will continue to attend events in Westborough that encourage people to read banned books. And I guess this isn't, I'm going to tell you anyway. It's in the ALL Freedom to Read statement, there's a quote that I really like. Suppression of ideas is fatal to a democracy. And I feel like, I'm going to do everything I can to support the library in its efforts to make available all materials to all people at all times. We have a right to read what we want to read. If we suppress the information, it's harmful to everybody. Thank you.
Do I get her time? I've been a teacher all my life. Try to ban a book, it's over my dead body. And I proved it by going to the Board of Ed when I was a high school English teacher, who said I had to be 5 of the books that I was supposed to read and prepare to teach and prepared to teach were now off the books because they were being banned. Huckleberry Finn. We've been doing this for over 100 years, debating whether Huckleberry Finn should be in a curriculum. And we still haven't decided on it. So it's time to let it go. Because when you're afraid to read something, again, closing down your mind. It's age appropriateness that really is the major concern of parents. They want to know if they're reading something for their child that's age appropriate. I certainly wouldn't ask them to read a book in 3rd grade that was material covered in an adult book. That's not age appropriate, and the language is not appropriate, and the cognitive ability of a 3rd or 4th grader to understand it isn't necessary to understand it. We've all seen and heard books that were considered evil, terrible, horrible. Don't put that out, it might influence a child. Well, they couldn't even read it because it was, I think the book was 50 Shades of Grey, and someone had it out for a sale, and they said, oh no, you can't put that out there. Excuse me? A child could get it. I said, a child couldn't even lift it. So forget it. What I want to see is a dialogue, a conversation. I would love to have a conversation with Boyd. Sorry, Courage, by your first name. Okay? Because we have something in common. He loves his children. I love children. I want to protect children. He does too. But there is a meeting place in the middle. When I say that I have the right, but we, the people, can work together. That's what the difficulty is. Always, we have to find a way to make a concession to figure out how to be the best library and the best patrons. Thank you.
Boy, this book banning has sure got legs. The gal was trying to get the vaginas and penises from the bottom shelf of the children's section move up to a higher shelf. Back to the book review that I'd like to see on the shelf here and display at Westborough. Schreier explores the ways, American children in virtually every way that can be measured. Gen Z's mental health is worse than that of previous generations. Youth suicide rates are climbing, antidepressant prescriptions for children are common, and the proliferation of mental health diagnosis has not helped the staggering number of kids who are lonely, lost, sad, and fearful of growing up. What's gone wrong with America's youth? In Bad Therapy, best-selling investigative journalist argues the problem isn't the kids, it's the mental health experts. Drawing on hundreds of interviews with child psychologists, parents, teachers, and young people, Schreier explores the ways the mental health industry has transformed the way we teach, treat, discipline, and even talk to our kids. She reveals that most of the therapeutic approaches have serious side effects and few proven benefits. Among their unsettling findings, talk therapy can induce rumination, trapping children in cycles of anxiety and depression. Social emotional learning handicaps our most vulnerable children. In both public schools and private, gentle parenting can encourage emotional turbulence, even violence in children as they lash out, desperate for an adult in charge. Mental health care can be life-saving when properly applied to children with severe needs, but for the typical child, the cure can be worse than the disease. Bad Therapy is a must-read for anyone questioning why efforts to bolster America's kids have backfired and what it will take for parents to lead a turnaround. Where are the books Amazon won't sell you, such as When Harry Became Sally? If it's not gender affirming, it's not on display here in Westborough. Do you actually believe? Oh, okay.
Okay, this is pretty straightforward. If we accept the Library Bill of Rights and the freedom to read statements, that means that they form the foundation for everything that we do. And everything that we should do should be based on them. In other words, it's a direct analog to the Bill of Rights in the Constitution, and all our laws should answer to that. Every action the library takes, every action the Library Board of Trustees takes, all measured against the guidance provided the library by the Library Bill of Rights. A caveat regarding that, however, is that many non-librarians, and I think it's the overwhelming majority of us, myself included, have no idea that a document like this exists. It seems like it might be a nice idea to more visibly share some of the important ideas of that document with the community at large. Finally, with respect to the comment about the book banning and the legs that seems to have, it has them and it should have them, because if you think that was only about taking a book from the bottom shelf and putting it on the top shelf, you are naive. That also involved attempted intimidation of librarians and quite a bit else. This isn't an appropriate time to go into the specifics. I was not there, so you'll be getting secondhand. You'd only be getting secondhand information from me. But by all means, find out what's going on. Make your vote the most informed vote that you can. It's pretty important these days.
Thank you. Okay. Got it. All right. So we are lucky to live in a democracy, and for those who have been elsewhere in the world, I think they understand what we have that they don't, and unfortunately there's too many places around the world where there's not the freedom of expression, the freedom of thought, the freedom of speech that we have and almost take for granted. Our laws, our Bill of Rights in the Constitution, what the ALA has for their Bill of Rights, all mesh very well. That we are a society that values freedom of speech, freedom of thought, that we are allowed to live a life where we're not being repressed. That's a tremendous benefit. That our society builds and benefits so much from that that, again, we almost take it for granted and we almost forget to see it. The libraries, the ALA's Bill of Rights is exactly the right thing to have. The freedom to read statement is perfect. This is what you need to have supporting all the libraries that are part of our society. And I wholly endorse what that is going about doing. That this provides a level set, that we are all here working on improving ourselves, that we have the ability to step out and improve ourselves and our children, those in our community, and it's not a repressed society. This is a tremendous benefit. Enough said. Thank you.
Thank you all. This has been really interesting and informative. We'd like to take some questions from the audience. So could you raise your hand if you have a question you would like to ask, just so I can get a sense of how many people would like to ask questions? Okay, I'll start. You know what I'll do? I'll just go like row by row, and we'll start that way. So this gentleman right here.
I've been trying to find out what went on with the parking space, why we cannot park there anymore. It's dangerous parking in the road. You take your life in your hands when you open the door. The most concerning thing I have discovered, we've tried to find out what's going on with it. And everyone says freedom of speech, we live in a democracy. Luckily, there's enough of it. I asked the librarian once, what's going on? You know the exact quote was? We were told not to speak of it. That is very distressing.
At that time, I wrote a letter to the library trustees.
Can you repeat the question so we can hear?
He was asking about the situation with the parking with the church next door.
The parking situation, we've never been able to find out what went on, what's going on there.
I got it, thank you.
Okay.
We watched a woman hit out here in the afternoon.
Can you speak up,
Is
please?
this another
I'm
question?
gonna stop this line of questioning right here, because this really isn't a question for any of the candidates, because Jeanine is currently a trustee, but the others are not. And our trustee chair, hold on. Our trustee chair, Mary Johnston, is coming forward, so I'll let her speak to this. Here's the mic if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. I am Mary Johnston. I'm the chair of the Library Board of Trustees. As this is a candidate forum, I'm going to let the program go on as continue, but I am here all night and I'm happy to stay after and talk to anybody that wants to hear about the parking issue.
Mary, I don't think it's coming through the mic right now.
Sorry, I'm bad at it too. I'm happy to stay after the candidate forum and happy to talk. I would love to talk to people and hear their feedback about the parking here. As I've said before, I always want to hear from people. And if I don't hear from people, then we can't make informed decisions. So I'm going to put that on hold, let this program continue, and then, yeah.
Members, do not suppress information if this turns out to be true, right? Tell us
I
what-
want to assure you that that is very much incorrect. I have never and would never tell staff not to talk about something. So I apologize if that was your experience, and I will discuss that with my staff.
Please don't. I mean,
Well,
that's why I
it's
keep saying-
difficult not to, but
That's the feedback we need to hear
Yeah.
as people that are in charge of the
Yes.
library. So don't be afraid to share your experiences. I always want to hear them because that's the only way I can make the library better. But like
Same.
I said, I'm staying, so I'd be happy to talk about that after. And please, stay.
was somebody else in this row? Yeah. Was there someone else in this row? Okay. Next row. Anyone? Okay, someone towards the back. Yes. We're going to bring a mic so everyone can hear you. So hang on one sec.
So in the library trustee handbook, which I'm sure we've all dissected, one of the golden rules is to acknowledge the successes of the staff and the library director and to be their champions. As a library trustee, how would you go about doing that? And if you're someone who in the past has bullied, harassed, or intimidated librarians, how would you go about repairing those relationships so you could be their champion.
I'll pass this mic down. Okay. So the question is, how will we champion our librarians? I'm trying to find ways for like the event I talked about, I would like our librarians to have a chance to talk about the events that they're creating for each age group, because they're creating wonderful events. When I'm going out and talking about the town, I'm talking about the events that they're creating, because the library has amazing things happening for adults, teens, and children. And honestly, if you have other ways that you would like us to do that, I would love to hear them. Because I mean, our librarians, it's just a building without our librarians. And so I cherish them, and I'll do anything that I can to support them.
Okay, librarians, volunteers to serve, workers to serve. There are people in all of those brackets who work under this roof, and they are amazing men and women. To support them, you have to thank them. You can't just walk by them, and I'm talking about daily. You're here, I'm here like every other day, to say thank you. You're doing a good job. How many times do you just come in here and walk by the door, the front desk and not greet them? Because you're busy, you're looking for a particular book. That's how you say thank you on a regular basis. As a trustee, I would institute a staff person of the month. Get a big old photo of them out in front, embarrass the hell out of them. Big old picture that says, thank you, librarian, for helping me find what I need to know. Just small moments. Serving them coffee and donuts or muffins or something non-fattening. I'm always for chocolate, but you gotta be careful. To say thank you. You cannot get someone to be a good worker and a committed staff person unless you say thank you. So my job would be to be the one that I'm thankful for everything they do. So I better get out there and say thank you. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll stand up and look intimidating. I've been intimidated when I talk to Shelby, apparently, and I'm sure Maureen and Amber Bach kind of thing. But definitely, I think the employees should be supported. I try to say hello and hi to whenever I come into the library a couple of times a week also. And very appreciative of the staff and all they do here.
Second part of the question.
And that was?
If you are someone who has bullied, intimidated, or harassed librarians before, how would you go about repairing those relationships?
Well, actually, I don't think I'd been in the bullied category. Maureen did call the police when we went to see the teen section to see what the books were over there. But my friend Ted, I think, was the one that was actually the two gals that were the employees here said that they were threatened by him. But I left before that altercation, so. But I did talk to the police afterwards.
But he is your friend.
Yes, and we understand now the protocol of seeing the teen section. We can go to the front desk and get a library staff, and then go over there to the teen section, as opposed to going over there as an adult, not being taken with the library staff into the teen section. So now we understand the protocol.
Basic good manners.
Definitely. But I think, once again, I'm just intimidating the way I am, I guess.
So am I, although bad. Perhaps not quite so. But I am told that you are when you're sitting down. I think the best way to show appreciation for the librarians is, first of all, to understand that they didn't get into the library biz to make a lot of money. They got in because they loved their job. So let's just enable them and let it go at that, and intercede whenever there's a problem. Be available as a resource, and let librarians be librarians.
Thank you. To answer the question about the respect we can show to the librarians that we have, this is, you know, it just makes, it's just the way I was raised. I have 3 different library cards now, Framingham, Boston, and here. I wouldn't dream of going into a library and insulting anybody who has taken the time to do this. It's like, it's the same way with the teachers at our schools. It's too easily an underappreciated job, and you know, the snarky comments, the outright offensive effrontery, that never helps. If you have a concern, politely raise it. But it's really a case that you know, we deserve to put these people up on pedestals sometimes, because they look at this environment here. This is a terrific place. Look at the event calendar. It's terrific. Look at the plans that are going on. This is terrific. I can keep repeating myself. But you know, I embrace what I see going on here. The trustees, the Friends committee, I think they're all doing good work with what they are able to try to do. We should all commend that. Something that I saw, and it was kind of interesting, when I was in southern Germany, when you went into any store, it was just the custom that you would greet the storekeeper on the way in. Grüß Gott. On the way back out. Grüß Gott. It would be bad manners to walk into a store and not say hello or goodbye as you leave. And that's just a wonderful takeaway I had. And I think we, as a society, boy, wish we could apply that a little bit more in everything in what we're doing. Just to take that moment and say, you're here. I see you. Let's recognize you. Thank you. And to recognize the effort that the librarians make, or our school teachers make, or the people at the DPW make. They're all putting themselves out for our community in many ways across town, all these different positions, and they owe our thanks, and we should provide that. Thank you.
Did I see other questions over here? Yes, sir, in the back.
I'm going to change it up a little bit and ask what I think is a yes or no question of each candidate. Do you support 100% the Library Bill of Rights and the Freedom to Read statement?
Did everyone hear the question? Okay, I'll pass the mic down. So just a yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes.
I support it. I don't think the Westborough Library supports it.
Yes.
Yes, here we are.
Last person's answer.
Yeah, that was it.
Yes.
He said yes. We're going to do one last question because we're getting close on time, and then we'll our formal program will end, but our candidates will be here if you would like to speak with them one-on-one. So our last question. Oh, and then Mary's going to conclude everything. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So actually, can you hear me? Yeah. So this is actually not to put anyone on the spot, but hey, Boyd, question. Can you elaborate on the last, I mean, you said that you do believe it, but that you don't believe that the librarians or that the library follows it. So can you just expound upon that a little bit so I understand what you're saying?
Yeah, so like what I'm saying is like we would have a Obama display here, and we wouldn't have like a Trump display, or like a books, or something like that, like kind of thing. Or the book I was talking about, the books by Abigail Shrier on transgenderism that doesn't follow the gender affirming care scenario. It's not something that this library would put on display, kind of thing. So I'm into the alternate views and whatever the people's views are, and then the alternate ones, not just like the federal, the state, the WHO, the Agenda 2030 kind of thing, the stuff, the indoctrination that's going on throughout the country. And, we look at the vaccines. We've got 20% now that we've had two initial shots and 6 boosters, we've got only 20% of the adults that are doing it. So people, and 4% of the kids, so people understand that it's not the thing to do anymore. But when it was first happening, That was all the publicity. The library was holding vaccine clinics, the Board of Health, the Select Board. Everybody would just take whatever the feds or the state said, and they would say, that's what we're going to do in Westborough with the masking and everything else. And so I'm not for blindly following all this kind of stuff and like the library endlessly pushing the doctrine of the feds in the state.
Just one thing, Boyd. There are none so blind as those that refuse to see. There are people with credibility who put things out, and a library allows you to check that credibility, to make sure that the sources, I mean, I wouldn't go to a financial planner that I said, I don't believe in what the government says or what the stock market's doing, I'm going to give you this advice. I want to know their credentials. I want to know their background, where they went to school. I don't want some person who has no credential. Now, I have a child, adult woman, beautiful, who's gay. Should I have dictated to her what book she could read or what other people could have so that she wouldn't feel good about herself? I read a book when I was 10 years old that changed my life because I had a traumatic childhood. And this one book was about a girl coming of age and saying, I can do anything, no matter what's happened to me in the past. I want every child who comes in here to find a book that speaks to them, not an alternative where I can't see if it's credentialed, if it's researched. And as a scientist, I would think you would want more of the background before you start saying what all of these other theories are, because I can't research all of those, and you don't have any credentials to show me that you have that ability to interpret it. So I just hope that we can have a conversation sometime, because I think it would be fascinating.
Certainly, anytime.
But where are we going? Are you coming back?
Do I actually get to use this, or? Okay.
How about a tune?
Wait until you hear me sing. Regarding vaccines, if the vaccine were an immutable thing, then it would be odd to have people keep having to get boosters. But in fact, it changes. The vaccine has mutated any number of times. I know this because my PhD in biology from Johns Hopkins daughter-in-law has told me this. She follows the science. If I don't follow the science directly, I follow the science through her.
On that note, I'm going to say I am very grateful that I've had to make a lot of decisions at the library, and none of them involve vaccinations except for myself. So I have one thing to say and one question to ask. I wanted just to say thank you so much for each of you for putting the time and effort into running for a position here at the library, let alone anywhere in town. I love the library. I love Westborough. I say, if you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it hopefully lots of times, that the library is the most valuable resource in our community, I truly believe. It takes a lot of work to pull papers, get signatures, put yourself out here and on social media, and so I truly thank you. For 2 years in a row to have this many people interested in helping further the library is amazing. So, being a teacher by trade, I like to end everything on a positive, and so I'm going to ask you each to just label one positive attribute that you are proud of, that you will bring with you to the Board of Trustees that will help further our work.
Perseverance. I get stuff done.
I'm a kaleidoscope thinker. I like to shake things up and look at it from a different angle and find a new solution.
If the rubber gasket's on the Challenger, I'm not into the groupthink thing, so I'll be maybe I'll be a thorn in the side.
When I was a junior in high school in Brunswick, Maine, I suddenly discovered the library at Bowdoin College, and spent the next 18 months acquainting myself with the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary. Libraries are good things. I'll do my best to stay here and to make sure that it's well maintained.
Super. Right. As you might guess, I'm a people person. I've spent my time as a career person in the software development industry doing project after project after project where you build up, you recognize the issues, you find the solution, you work forward on reaching the solution that improves things. That's what I find that I can provide here, and that's what I want to accomplish in what could be my time here. Very good.
So I want to thank you all again, candidates, for being here. I know for many people, public speaking is a difficult and terrifying thing, especially in front of an audience. And thank you all, the audience, for coming, participating, asking really good questions, and for being here. And please remember, town elections are coming up on March 12th. That's the day that you'll be voting for our candidates here and for many other offices in town. So please make sure that you show up and vote, because voting is really important. So thank you again, and please feel welcome to come and talk with all of our candidates the rest of our evening. Thank you.